when you hire a coach in the NFL, you usually go the opposite of what you've just experienced. Okay? And a perfect example is what the New England Patriots did. Is they had Bill Belichick for 20-plus years running the entire franchise, the entire thing, soup to nuts. They basically farmed it out and said, Bill, you shop the groceries, you pick them out, you take what you need, you coach them up, and you keep hanging banners. And it worked. And then when it was finally time to part ways, whatever phraseology you want to use, they went with a rarity, which is an identified successor on their staff, and they were going to go through with the plan because that was the guy that they identified as a successor to Bill Belichick. And one of the reasons why I think they identified Gerard Mayo as a successor to Bill Belichick is because his personality was different than Bill's. And they also knew that if they started from scratch with him, they could take back in the organization the real estate they coughed up to Bill. That they could come up with a more traditional sense of there's the general manager, there's the coach's office. The two shall meet, but the two shall not be one in the same. And it didn't work out. It didn't work out.
No.
And they're going back in the other direction. They're going back to somebody more in the Belichick mold. He played for Bill. He's got a red jacket like Bill's going to have one day. The red jacket is what the Patriots give their Hall of Famers. And Mike Vrabel was named today the 16th head coach of the New England Patriots. And it is as perfect a fit as you could possibly imagine. He's a CEO head coach who's got a red-ass streak in him, and he's exactly the person the Patriots need at the moment to tell the fan base, we see you, we hear you, we understand you, we lost our sense of the Patriot way. We thought we could continue the Patriot way in a new way, and man, we're going back to the old way. Although I can't wait to see how they divvy up the front office and things of that nature, but Vrabel is used to that sort of setup. I'm sure he would have to be comfortable with whom that front office executive is, because I'll never forget the moment we had him on this show when the rumors were rampant that A.J. Brown was going to be traded away from Tennessee because John Robinson, the general manager, didn't want to pay him, or the owner didn't want to pay him, and Robinson was going to carry out that code red. And they wound up trading him away. But before they did, I had Vrabel on the program, and Vrabel said, A.J. Brown will not be traded as long as I'm the coach here.
And he was straight.
Yada, yada, yada. He's the 16th head coach in the history of the New England Patriots today.
Take your heart pills and buckle up.
One of our favorite Mike Vrabel drops.
Let's go.
And that's what was missing from New England football. Take your heart pills when you take on the New England Patriots and buckle up. This guy standing on the sideline will hearken back to the Patriot way days of In Bill We Trust, and there's Tommy throwing touchdown passes to Mike Vrabel.
10 for 10, by the way.
A 3-time Super Bowl champion. And he was an all-pro player for one season with the New England Patriots. And he becomes, wait for it, the first head coach to win a Super Bowl for a team and then come back to coach said team since Art Shell. The Raiders, who won 2 Super Bowls with the Raiders. Forrest Gregg won 2 Super Bowls with the Packers, and Bart Starr 2 Super Bowls with the Packers. They wound up coaching the Packers. Forrest Gregg wound up also coaching the Bengals as well. But Art Shell. And he's got the most Super Bowl wins of any player to later become the head coach of that team. And so There is now a DNA connection between the banners up in the stands and the guy on the sideline. That's it. The only other, by the way, defensive player in the history of the NFL with 100 or more games played for a team they later became the head coach of, like Vrabel, is the man he's replacing, Gerard Mayo, who had 103 games for the Patriots.
That's funny.
Art Shell had 207 for the Raiders. Mike Munchak had 159 for the Titans. And there's Gary Kubiak, who played in 119 games as the Broncos. And so on and so on. Congratulations. I know this is exactly what you wanted.
Very excited. Wanted this a year ago. Had to wait a little bit, but that's totally fine. Like I said on the podcast, Rich, good on Bob Kraft for recognizing that the plan wasn't working and it wasn't going to work and to make this change. And very happy Mike wants to come back. Now let's see who he gets as the offensive coordinator, on the defensive coordinator, who helps out in the front office. And let's rebuild this football team and get to work.
Race to see if it's Josh McDaniels, I imagine.
I would love that.
This is what Mike Vrabel had to say. By the way, congratulations. Here's Mike Vrabel on our screen with the Patriot logo behind him, talking about being the new HC of the NEP.
Excited to get to work, excited to meet the people in this building that have made this place special. Find out what they need, find out how I can help them do their job better, how we can enhance the stuff that we do well, and then find out what the areas of focus are and get to work. I want to galvanize our football team. I want to galvanize this building. I want to galvanize our fans. And the most important thing are the players. There's some of them right here. I want to provide a program that provides their ownership, but also their accountability of each other, and one that they'll be proud to be a part of and that they're going to fight for.
Galvanize. Check that, Mark. He's galvanized every Patriot fan I know.
Oh, man.
He's galvanized Patriot Nation.
Yep.
100%. And I'm just wondering if you should send a thank you note, Chris Brockman, to One Jets Drive. Because it was just 10 short days ago that Mike Vrabel met with the Jets for their head coach vacancy. As a matter of fact, a day after the Browns redid the consulting contract or whatever he had with the Cleveland Browns, I think that's what it was technically.
Yeah, technically he was a consultant.
Yeah, they redid it so he could start talking to other teams for head coaching jobs. The minute that was done, he met with the Jets, who were the first in line to speak to Mike Vrabel. And all reports coming out of that meeting were it went very well. Mm-hmm. Very, very well, I think was the quote that I saw. Two verys.
Wow.
Very times two well. And Gerard Mayo got fired the next day. And the interview process got started the next day after that. And less than 2 weeks later, the first team to hire a head coach are the New England Patriots, hiring Mike Vrabel, who didn't even, it moves so fast, he didn't even appear on the Raiders list of candidates because I'm sure he told Tommy, I'm going home.
I'm going back.
Chris, can I ask, because you've been at the forefront asking for this. I'm looking at his stats as a coach and things of that nature, and he's 9 games over 500.
Sure.
Won over 10 games twice in 6 years. So I guess as an outsider, why are you so excited? What do you think that Mike Vrabel is going to bring to your team?
Attitude, leadership, respect, culture change, no nonsense. Mike is going to tell you exactly how it is. Kevin Clark wrote an amazing piece about Vrabel a couple years ago when he was following him around at Titans training camp. He's the best kind of a-hole that you can know, which means he's going to not mince words. You need to get better. He's going to make you get better or you're out. And I think accountability is something this past Patriots team didn't really have. It was obvious if you watched all the games. So sloppy in certain areas. That's not going to happen anymore with this guy leading the way.
This is what he had to say about changing that, exactly what you guys were talking about. Hit it.
You guys are going to ask me questions about culture, which I'll be happy to talk about and discuss. One thing I've realized about culture is that you can find out what your culture looks like when your family, your business, or your team is at its low point. It's not when you're winning Super Bowls, or it's not when you're 7-1 or 10-1, because then everybody's waving towels and everybody's happy and they're excited to come to work. But when you get hit in the mouth, or you're down, or the chips are against you, then you can take a snapshot of what your company or your team looks like, and then you'll find out what kind of culture you have. But that culture is going to be built on winning, a competitive spirit throughout our roster, throughout our players, and throughout our coaches and our staff, and the ability to put the team first and care about somebody other than yourself.
Had the Titans in London last year, and we met with Vrabel before the game. And I've obviously met him many times before, chit-chatted with him many times before. And Jamie Erdahl was part of the crew. And he told Jamie how much he likes watching Good Morning Football and his wife likes watching Good Morning Football. Couldn't have been more generous with that comment and warm. And I decided to take a shot and say, well, what about the Rich Eisen Show? And he looked at me, stared a hole straight through me. And he looks at me and goes, what about it? Does that illustrate your point?
Yes, and also
and how he's kind of right down the middle of what Belichick is and was and who he is and what the Patriots are looking for. Like he doesn't suffer any fools. Right. He's got a sense of humor.
So are you trying to call yourself a fool? Like
I was a fool for suggesting, how come you're not complimenting me, Coach?
I don't know, man.
Like asking Mike Vrabel for a compliment might have been the dumbest thing I could have attempted.
And that's the thing. This past year, one of the tentpole moments where Gerard Mayo lost some of the fans, lost a lot of the media in Boston, is when he called this team soft. And Mike Vrabel will not do that because there will not be any soft players allowed in the building. And it just won't be a thing. That's what the culture is going to be, and that's how it's going to change with this guy.
But if he's calling players soft and they are being soft, isn't that something that you want out of your coach?
But he won't do it in the media like Gerard did.
I don't know why that's such a bad thing.
To their face in the locker room. It's not going to be something that's aired publicly.
You got to win, man. It's that simple.
Yeah.
And
they got to build around 10. Plain and simple as well. Mike said it in the press conference. They're going to have a strong offensive line. They're going to be a tough-nosed team. Yeah. We're not going to see a lot of the crap that went on this year.
As for 10, this is what he had to say about Drake Maye and his development.
My involvement will be as it relates to game management and situational awareness and where we are on the football field and trying to develop him as a leader of the offense. And when our quarterback, when they call the play, like you want to say like everybody's going to believe that it's going to score a touchdown, like with that type of emphasis on how everything is going to operate. And Drake is going to be his own person. But I'm going to give him some things that I feel like are necessary to help us win football games. We have to be a very efficient passing football team, right? And when you look at statistically of what wins in the National Football League, our ability to affect the other team's quarterback and our ability to provide for an efficient quarterback and passing game is a high contributor to success.
Hey, man, I know the franchise has definitely been adrift since Brady left, but this gives you a great sense of being more, moored back to the Patriot way. And I can offer you and all your fans and congratulations on that. And then you sit there and you wonder, how the hell did the Titans just let him walk? And then how the hell did he not get a job last year? And the fact that he's landed here makes complete sense. And the question about how the hell did he get let go to begin with will be topic number 1 through 1,000 next season when the Patriots do, in fact, visit Nashville, Tennessee. And by the way, in terms of the smash mouth way that you play and take your heart pills and buckle up, the Ravens are on the schedule next year, too. Old school.
Fun.
Turn back the clock to Vrabel.
Fun.
Standing there on front 7, taking on the Ravens and all of those great campaigns back in the day.
Yeah, and TJ, look, we've talked about this a lot, and you're going to go through it right now. With a new head coach, you just want to be inspired and you want to feel like there's hope for the future. Didn't get that a lot last year with Gerard Mayo, and I don't know how you feel about it, but this is the most Patriots fans have felt, hope that the playoffs are back on in a long time.
Oh, I feel nothing because I'm not a Patriot fan. So
I'm saying in terms of the Cowboys.
About how you're going to feel for the
feel.
Dallas Cowboys. Yeah. And in terms of that, you want to look at somebody in this studio who knows about trying to find inspiration in new head coaches. Hello.
Yeah.
I mean, hello. You coach to win the game. I mean, that guy was inspired, and then Rex inspired for a while until he started, stepping in the wrong direction. And then on top of all of it, you want to talk about a hire that made you feel great again. Harbaugh back at Michigan. This has a similar feel to it.
Totally. And guess what? Patriots play at Tennessee next year.
That's what I just. Okay, great.
You said Baltimore.
No, I said Tennessee before that, but it's okay. You're doing many things, and
He's
I also
excited right now,
left you another sleeve of Thin Mints there. That I think
I know,
threw
it
off your
totally
game.
distracted me.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.